The Honda Ridgeline is definitely one of the hottest pickup trucks in the mid-size market, and the newest edition is here. The model immediately caught the attention of the public, especially the new Trail Sport trim level that looks rather nice. But there are some negatives of the Honda Ridgeline as well. So if you want to learn more about the new model, stay with us while we cover the 2024 Honda Ridgeline, an honest assessment of its pros and cons. Let's start with the pros of the Honda Ridgeline. In other words, what are the positive things about this new model? Number 4. Excellent driving dynamics. One of the key selling points of the Honda Ridgeline is the way this pickup truck drives. The Honda Ridgeline is like nothing else out there. Why so? Well, the Ridgeline is not your ordinary pickup truck. The Honda Ridgeline is based on a unibody chassis, which is very similar to the one found in midsize SUVs, which, in this case, is the Honda Pilot. The Ridgeline is heavily based on the Pilot, and these two models basically drive the same, which is very positive news. Since all the other trucks in the midsize segment, like the Toyota Tacoma, Chevy Colorado, and Ford Ranger, all use ladder frames, these old-school frames are good for towing and payload, but they have poor driving dynamics. There's a huge amount of body roll, which makes the driving experience a bit poor. But with the Honda Ridgeline, you don't have such an experience. The Ridgeline handles like a dream through the corners. This is why a lot of people prefer the Honda Ridgeline instead of the competitors. And if you're one of these people, we definitely recommend the Honda Ridgeline. Number 3. Powerful engine. Another reason why you should choose the Honda Ridgeline instead of the competitors is the powerful engine. This engine, although naturally aspirated, packs some real power. We're talking here about the J35. This is a 3.5-liter V6 engine that produces about 280 HP and 262 pound-feet of torque. The 3.5-liter engine is paired with a 9-speed ZF automatic that is quite a good performer and allows this engine to have great fuel economy. Another thing we really love this engine for is its reliability. The reliability of these J35 engines is phenomenal and easily one of the best in this class. Maintenance-wise, they're also pretty good. They use timing belts, and replacing a belt is rather cheap compared to chain-driven engines used in the competitor models. All this guarantees relatively carefree ownership because you'll not have to invest a ton of money in this truck in the long term. The only downside of this engine is that it might feel a bit slow compared to turbocharged engines because you don't have that instant torque from the turbo. But if you don't mind that, you'll be pretty good. Overall, pretty excellent powertrain. Number 2. Great fuel economy. Another reason why owners love the Honda Ridgeline is because of its excellent fuel economy. People who are after vehicles that have good fuel economy are all over the Honda Ridgeline, and we can't blame them since the Ridgeline is a really good performer. This model implements the same engine across the whole range, so fuel economy is pretty similar on every trim level. The official EPA numbers are 18 mpg in the city, 24 mpg on the highway, and 21 mpg combined. Many people doubt these numbers, but the real-world numbers are not very different. In the real world, the Ridgeline averages about 21 miles per gallon according to owner experiences. This is why, if you're after a very efficient model, we strongly recommend that you go after the Honda Ridgeline. This vehicle will give you excellent fuel economy and will not drain your wallet like other models in the midsize segment. Number 1. New Trail Sport trim. A new addition for 2024 will be the new Trail Sport trim. The Trail Sport was already welcomed in the Honda Pilot last year, but this year, Honda decided to add this trim to the Ridgeline as well. The Trail Sport, as its name says, is a trim dedicated for the trails and driving off-road. It is far more rugged compared to the standard model. The highlights of this model are the General Grabber AT Sport tires, which add a bit more height as well as more grip, but all of the magic happens under the hood. This model has the same engine output, but it uses a very smart IVTM4 torque vectoring system to move up to 70% of the truck power to the rear wheels. On top of that, you have many driving modes for driving in different conditions, such as snow, sand, or mud. The suspension was also retuned for off-road performance. This Trail Sport model, you can even get the HPD package. With this package, you can add a ton of other goodies, such as a different grille, black fender flares, new wheels, and HPD graphics. Overall, the Trail Sport is a nice addition to the lineup, especially for those who are looking to squeeze every bit of performance from their Honda Ridgeline. We've covered the pros. Now, let's move on and learn some of the cons that this model has. There are also some downsides to this model as well, so let's go through them and find out more about the Ridgeline. Number 5. No hybrid version. One of the biggest downsides of the Honda Ridgeline is the lack of a hybrid option. We live in times where there's a shift towards hybridization and electrification. Some of the competitors started offering a hybrid model, such as the Toyota Tacoma, and we really expected that Honda would bring a hybrid version of the Honda Ridgeline and make this model even more attractive to the buyer. With a mild hybrid setup, the MPGs could jump quite a lot, and you'll have a pretty similar city and highway fuel consumption. Not to mention that nowadays, these systems are not even as expensive to engineer and install in cars as they were 10 years ago. That's why we strongly hope that with the next iteration, we're going to see a hybrid Honda Ridgeline. Number 4. Poor towing performance. Another big downside of the Honda Ridgeline is its towing performance. The Honda Ridgeline is pretty mediocre in terms of towing capacity. This is the case because the Honda Ridgeline is built on a unibody chassis. This approach has some pros. One of them is the excellent driving dynamics, but it also has some cons, which is the poor towing performance. Unibody frames are simply not as sturdy as ladder frames. This is why this truck is limited to 5,000 pounds of towing, which is still pretty much enough to tow the vast number of trailers out there. The positive is that the Honda Ridgeline is able to tow this much on all of the trims, so you don't have to get special tow packages or things like that. You only install a hitch for up to 5,000 pounds and you're able to use the maximum towing capacity from your Honda Ridgeline. Number 3. Outdated exterior and interior design. Another thing that we don't like about the 2024 Honda Ridgeline is the outdated exterior and interior design. This model still looks like the Ridgeline from 5 years ago. Honda simply didn't put any effort into adding a facelift to this model for 2024. This was very much a possibility because the Honda Pilot that was released 1 year ago has these upgraded looks. And the Ridgeline under the skin is basically an image of the Pilot. So Honda could have transferred all this technology to the Ridgeline without overspending. But instead of doing that, we still experience the same design as the years before, both inside and outside. One positive thing is that they updated the infotainment system for this model. This was the least they could have done to the model. So the new model has better infotainment with improved graphics, and it is pretty smoother than the previous system used in the Ridgeline. For 2025, we hope that Honda will finally add a new look to the Honda Ridgeline and put new life into this model that is slowly but surely becoming more and more dated when compared to the competition. Number 2. No 4x4 capability. Another thing that many people dislike about the Honda Ridgeline is the lack of 4x4 capability. There is an all-wheel drive system, but this system is working automatically. It does not function like the 4x4 system where the driver can select 4-wheel drive. This is a problem, especially for those who want to go off-road. This AWD system is simply not up to the task as a 4-wheel drive system would be. This is why a lot of owners simply avoid this model because of this downside. All of the competition offers a proper 4-wheel drive system. That's why we think Honda should include a specific 4-wheel drive system with the Ridgeline as well. Number 1. High price. Another con with the Honda Ridgeline is the high asking price. The Ridgeline has a starting MSRP of $38,800. This is the base model with the least options. When you compare it with the other trucks in this segment, the Honda Ridgeline is way too expensive. This is why many people avoid it, although we can confirm that the Honda Ridgeline is packing a lot more options compared to other trucks, but still, the price of this model is still too much for many people out there, especially the ones who want to get a good driving pickup truck without any excessive truck capabilities. So we think that Honda should make this model more affordable, even if it adds fewer options, since people will still want to buy it.